All right, traders, within this video, we're going to be recapping today's price action, doing a market analysis, and we're also going to be going over how to trade the best setups at the best prices heading into next week. I'm going to be sharing with you the current setups that are on my radar to trade next week. I'm going to give you the entire trading plan in terms of when I'm planning to enter, where my price target is, where my stop loss is. This is going to give you a much better education in terms of how to read price action, in terms of how to create a trading plan, how to understand when to be bullish, when to buy to call options, where to lock in profits, where to set the stop loss, and also the flip side, when to be bearish, when to buy the put options, where to set your price target, and where to set your stop loss. It's really going to give you a better understanding on when to enter and when to exit. So first things first, I want to give a big shout out to the members within Trader Society. They ended up playing the partial gap close reversal on SPY and stocks that follow the SPY on the put side. We're going to be going over that very quickly here, but big shout out to some of the members within Trader Society, absolutely crushing it. 30% return on Walmart puts. Very nice job, Maurice. Johnny ended up making $4,500 on AMC and the SPY. Big shout out to him. The Beef Supreme killing it again, made 105% return on HPQ. And Bobby called that out in the member call out section. That was a classic gap close reversal strategy to fill the gap below. We're going to be going over the analysis on that one as well. My guy back at it again, killing it. Ended up making $1,000 profit on MULN. Absolutely crushing it. Big shout out to him. He played that both ways, so he did make more on the day. He traded that one both ways, played it for a nice gap close reversal. He was shorting it once he noticed that 265 was forming resistance and it filled the gap. He was shorting it. We explained that in yesterday's video lesson, so he traded that both ways, I believe. Riser back at it again. Very nice day, up 1% on the day. Big shout out to Paul. Big shout out to Minicaster Minion, a 31% return on SST puts. That was the best trade that I made today. These contracts were up over 80% in the first 30 minutes when I bought them. I bought the $30 strike when it was trading at 31, and I really felt it would crash more, but I decided to play it safe and locked it in when it hit like 27.50 for an average of like a 50% return. Those puts exploded. They were up over 150% at one point. Beef Supreme killing it again, and big shout out to Bobby for having a phenomenal week. So yeah, let's get right into the analysis. So in terms of my best trade for the day, it was definitely this one, SST. It's just unfortunate because this was one of my smaller position sizes. I went heavier on an ATER put. It didn't work out the first time. If I would have held, it did work out. Then I got back in and it worked out the second time, so it made some money back on that. But in terms of SST, this was a phenomenal put option. I bought this $30 strike. We're going to be going over the SPY. We're going to be going over the top stocks here in just a moment, so make sure you stay to the end on the upcoming trading plans. But yeah, this one, I had the $30 strike that expired today, and I got filled at an average cost of $1.80. It's crazy, man. This was the trade of the day. I should have held these, man, because I had a strong intuition that I would continue to crash. But this was the trade of the day. As you can see, I alerted this one right here at 10:11 a.m. I bought SST puts at 170s. The strike was 130. The spread was thin at the time as well. Yeah, and then I even added more at 10:14 a.m. in the 180s. These printed like crazy, so I bought the puts right here, right before it had this big pullback very quickly from 31 to 26. It filled the gap, had a little reversal, then it turned previous support into resistance, which is bearish, then it sold off even more. History repeated itself to an exact T. I was studying how it gapped up on this day, topped out early, and it went from 37 all the way down to 20, and history repeated itself. It gapped up, it filled the gap, and then it went even lower, and now there's a gap to fill below here, so it's going to start filling that gap. This was by far an amazing trading opportunity. I mean, I was getting filled right here towards 10 a.m. Yeah, right here at 10:08 a.m. right here on this dip when it was in the 170s to $2 range. It was trading in this range for like 8 minutes, and then as soon as I got in, it shot up to 330, and as you can see, those contracts hit 719 on the day. History repeated itself. So for those of you new in Trader Society, make sure you study the gap fill short strategy, because it's going to teach you how to trade that strategy. This was a gap fill strategy. I was playing puts, I was shorting, I was betting on that gap to fill below at $26 a share. And if that 26 cracks, then it's going to start to fill the next gap to fill below. So that was SST. That was by far my best trade of the day. Unfortunately, that's the one I sized in lightly on. Let's go over the setups now. So in terms of the setups, SPY. In terms of SPY, we had a lot of members play this today as a partial gap close reversal. You guys know I was waiting for the best price at 451.03. In terms of yesterday's highs, there was major resistance at 450.50 and 450.69. So it almost filled that gap. It almost touched that previous support level. You can see right here on the SPY, your previous support is right here towards 451.03 to fill this gap. You also got some support right here at 450, right? So that's where that key support is. It just cracked through that support. It went to 443. It's shooting back. And if that previous support reacts as resistance, that means the bears are still in control of the SPY. And as you can see for the past 2 days now, that previous support has been reacting as resistance, and back to back towards midday till close, this had partial gap close reversals. So what that means is it partially filled the gap. It almost filled it. The gap fill was at 451.03. In terms of yesterday, it got to a high of 450.69 and it pulled back all the way down to 446. In terms of today, it put in a slightly lower high at 450.63 and it pulled back all the way to 446.75. So history repeated itself, and SPY had a partial gap close reversal back to back. Members recognized the opportunity, and some of them decided to take the extra risk and not wait for the gap to fill and get in slightly below that gap fill level. It's okay to do that. I would not recommend it for beginners, and I would only recommend doing it if it's already formed resistance. Like you could see yesterday, it already formed resistance, so the resistance was already there and it already had a big pullback, so it already had a nice move. So odds are if it retests, it's gonna start to form resistance once again. So that's okay in a sense. Just know, if you're playing partial gap close reversals, make sure you're getting in as close as possible to that gap, because the further away you are away from that gap, the more risk you are exposed. So if you're buying puts at like 449, you're automatically exposed to like $2 of risk because it's going to try to fill that gap, right? So if you're going to play a partial gap close reversal, which means you get in before the gap fills, again, something I really don't recommend, especially for beginners. There's rare case scenarios where you can do it. I mean, in this case scenario, it did kind of make sense because there was already proven resistance yesterday, and the gap fill is at 451.03, and the resistance from yesterday was at 450.70. So it's like there's like 33 cents of extra risk, right? There's like 33 cents, meaning it can go like 33 cents against you and then fill the gap. It's going to keep trying to fill the gap. But as long as your entry is close to it, then you could play it. I would just encourage you to make sure that it's an overreaction, to make sure that there was already previous resistance formed. And again, this is something I do not recommend for beginners. I noticed some of the more experienced traders within Trader Society decided to buy puts on SPY when it was in the 450s today. So yeah, the game plan still remains the same for me. I'm waiting for that gap to fill at 451.03. In terms of how does SPY look right now, this is not the most bullish chart, but it is still trying to push up and fill the gap. But again, this is not the most bullish chart, and the way stocks look right now, it looks like they want to go lower. So that's the overall point of view on the SPY. Heading into next week on the SPY, this 448.77 is going to be a key make it or break it level. Also 447.57. Overall, it looks bearish, but it is going to try to keep pushing that gap. So the best thing you can do for the SPY is to wait for that gap to fill and then look to buy puts there, as previous support is already showing signs of resistance, right? So that was kind of the analysis on SPY for the day. It had a partial gap close reversal. In terms of our best play heading into next week, it's going to be a call option on Tesla. This is what I'm looking at on Tesla stock here. We have a gap to fill below at $1,010.64. It's a nice whole round key support level, and this was just at 1150. So if we can form some support at 1010.64, it's going to be a scalp to ride it back up to fill this gap at 1057. Best price, one of the best prices for micro puts is going to be 1092. So micro puts right here at 1092, micro calls right here at 1064. Remember, we're not just blindly getting into these best key levels. We're using reactions, we're using confirmations, we're using a strategy, right? It has to form the candlesticks we're looking for. It has to react the way we want it to. If it doesn't react the way we want it to, if we don't see a strong foundational support level at the key gap fill level on support, if we don't see a strong foundational resistance level at the key gap fill level above, then we're not going to enter the trade, right? So we got to use these reactions. If it does crack through this 1010 level, it does look like Tesla has a gap to fill below right here. And this would be the truly best level to buy micro calls on Tesla. So if Tesla does crack through 1010, I will be waiting to buy the dip at 905.39. There's a small gap at 905.39. It's key support on the daily towards this $900 level, which is also towards previous resistance, which react as support. So that would be the best level for the Tesla call options, this 905. I still want to see how it reacts at 1010. Just keep in mind, stocks are looking micro bearish, and it looks like they want to go lower heading into next week. I'm not saying right away, but I'm saying overall for the week, it looks like things want to continue to pull back from the overall point of view for next week. In terms of our next stock, HPQ, I got to give a big shout out to Bobby. I'm telling you guys, we got some great members in here who are providing great value and who are pointing people in the right direction of the trade. As you can see, he alerted it real time at 10:29 a.m. and that he grabbed the $40 strike put options on HPQ, and a couple members did very well in those. They made 70% to 100% returns. So big shout out to him for alerting that, because this was a phenomenal setup. So in terms of the setup, in terms of the strategy that he was using is, he noticed that HPQ had a gap down and it was starting to bottom out towards yesterday's lows. And, this is having a gap down, so that's not that bullish. So what we're going to see is how it reacts when it fills the gap. And you could see the gap fill level was at key support yesterday. And if that key support reacts as a resistance, it's going to go back down to the previous low from yesterday, meaning the puts are going to print, because that's a move from 40.06 all the way down to 38.70. And if 38.70 cracks, then it's really going to start to fill that gap below. And as you can see, at one point, 38.70 crack, it went to 38.20. So in terms of bearish confirmations, when to get in on this, your key support is right here, and your gap fill level is literally at that key support. If it cracks, it's going to drop about a little bit over $1 towards yesterday's low, and it most likely go a little bit lower. So once you see, and the 5-minute chart gave it all away, if you look at the 5-minute chart right here, you got the bearish pin. Once you see that bearish pin, it's starting to break down, it's starting to form those lower highs, you buy the puts right into that move, right? So you wait for the gap to fill, buy the puts for that reversal. In terms of the 1-minute chart, you could even see on the 1-minute chart, you had a bearish doji right here before it sold off hard. That's another confirmation to be adding. You had lower highs right here. So these are all confirmations to be buying puts on this stock. So I want to give a big shout out to Bobby, because that was a phenomenal trade. In terms of, is there going to be an opportunity to trade this one into next week? So into next week, what you want to see is, you want to see this level react as a resistance level. If we can get this level right here, this 38.70s, to react as a resistance level, and it starts to pull back, it's going to be another great opportunity for a put and for a chance to crack 38.20. If it cracks 38.20, then it's going to start to fill the gap, and it should go to right about here, 37.50, 37.60, 37.70. That would be the target on that. So that's the game plan for HPQ. It's still fairly bearish here. So in terms of our next stock, is going to be, let's see, AMD is looking bearish at the moment, so I'm going to stay away from that one. SST is very, very bearish. It's going to fill this gap at 1996. We'll see how it reacts when it fills this gap at 1996. So I'll set a price alert for that, see how it reacts towards that gap fill level. Overall, I would say that my favorite plays coming up would be Tesla and SPY. For those two gap fills. Those are the main ones that I'm seeing right now. Nvidia is interesting too. I want you to keep an eye on Nvidia. This is one of the lower gaps to fill on Nvidia right here at $229.73. As you can see, that's make it or break it support. If it cracks that support, it's going to be quickly going to 220. If it bottoms out and has a reversal, it's going to quickly push to 242. So your new make it or break it level on Nvidia is 229.73. If it breaks down and reacts as a resistance, where does it go? To this next candle here. See how the low is right there with that bearish candle. Once it cracks and reacts as a resistance, that's bearish. Okay, well, what happens if it bottoms out, has a gap close reversal, and shows signs of strength and support? Then it goes towards the higher end of this candle right here, which is there's a gap to fill above at 242. So pay attention to the make it or break it support level at 229.73 for a micro option. If it breaks down, reacts as a resistance, it's a quick micro put. If it reacts to support, starts to push up, it's a quick micro call. Remember, with this strategy, you're getting in at the key best trend reversal price. And if you do get in and it does not have that reversal in your favor, then you get out, cut the loss quickly. And if you like, you can switch sides very quickly, make back the profit, make back the loss, or you can just wait for the next gap close reversal opportunity on another stock. So yeah, that'd be the game plan for Nvidia, to see how it reacts towards there. And then, like I explained to you guys in the last video, we have a lot of stocks we're waiting, like for SPY, we're waiting for them to push back up and fill these gaps above. Right now, things aren't looking bullish. So in terms of the short-term opportunities that I see right now, and I'm going to provide you an update heading into Sunday if I find any more setups. In terms of the short-term opportunities that I'm seeing right now, the gap close reversals on Tesla, the gap close reversals on the SPY, HPQ, looking to get puts if we can react as resistance there. And those are like the main ones that I'm seeing right now. Another one I want you to keep an eye on is DraftKings. DraftKings has a low gap. This might be one of the lowest gaps to fill. It's a 52-week low gap at 1613. We'll see how it reacts at 1613. That's going to be a make it or break it support level. Keep in mind, a lot of stocks are just cracking through their gap fill levels right now. So you got to be watching SPY when you're trading stocks that follow the SPY. Another one I'm interested in, and this is where I'm definitely planning to buy calls. Roblox looks very, very bearish, and this is something you can use with other stocks, right? So like let's say, a lot of these stocks follow each other in a sense, and some of the charts on these stocks are not going to look predictable. At times, it's going to not correlate with the strategy. It's going to be hard to see which way it's heading for the micro. But what you can do is you can look at other stock charts that follow and correlate with each other, and they'll be different. So like right now, Roblox looks very, very bearish. This looks really bearish. It just turned it cracked the low end of this channel, turned the previous support into resistance, very bearish right here. And you got a gap to fill below at 37.87. So in a sense, you can use that as a guide as well, that other stocks could follow and continue to crash with it. Like certain stock charts right now do not look as bearish as they do as Roblox. And we have this gap to fill below. So like you can kind of use that as a sense to like stack trends, stack things in your favor to kind of indicate that like other stocks could pull back as well. Like if a chart looks hard to read on certain stocks, you can use a stock that follows it to see if it's easier to read, to see if it looks different. And like that's what I'm doing with Roblox here. So Roblox is kind of telling me that stocks are looking very, very bearish right now. If they do follow Roblox in that sense, they should continue to go lower. But Roblox looks like we're going to see a gap fill at 37.87. In terms of buying, that's where I want to buy Roblox. I want to buy the gap close reversal. I want to buy calls at 37.87. That's going to be a phenomenal price. So some of the best setups that I can give you, the best price alerts within this video, call options on Roblox at 37.87. SPY put options at 451.03. Tesla call options at 10.10.64. If not, 9.05.39. And then the HPQ, we're looking to see if this 38.70 can react as a resistance level. If so, then it should go to about 37.70 for a nice quick return on the puts. Those are some of the best setups that I'm seeing. I do want to keep an eye on DraftKings as well towards this 1613 gap level. Just to understand though, for the micro stocks are looking bearish, but SPY has still been attempting to try to fill that gap. It's been 2 days in a row where it's reacted as resistance partially. So we'll see what happens heading into next week. But yeah, those are the best setups that I'm seeing into this current week. In terms of ATER stock, I believe this is gapping down in after hours. Let's take a look. So in terms of ATER stock, we are currently gapping down in after hours. It closed at 467. It's now trading at 437. So the game plan for ATER is going to be very, very simple heading into Monday. We're going to wait for it to go back up. If it doesn't go back up, then we don't trade it. So here's the game plan. I'm going to show you how to trade this both ways. I'm going to put you on to this strategy. It should work phenomenal. In terms of shorting, in terms of betting on the stock to go down, wait for it to go to 467. This is what I want you to understand. You got a lot of support here in the 470s, right? And if you go on the daily chart, you can see that 470 level is a key make it or break it resistance level. You can see right here, the high of this candle was at 470 and it crashed all the way down to 396 before exploding massively. So if history repeats itself, it's going to top out towards 470s and it's going to start to fill this gap, which is the new best price to buy ATER stock, 385. So what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking the stock gaps down, right? It's down now within after hours. We look for a push back up to 467. If it reacts bearish, we play the gap close reversal on ATER stock, and then we play for the gap to fill below. The gap to fill below at 385 would be the massive price target. Look to take some profits in the 420s as well. That'd be the game plan for the puts. In terms of the calls, 385. ATER stock loves having gap close reversals. It's a great stock to trade gap close reversals on. Don't believe me? Look at the chart. The chart's going to tell it all. That's how I'm able to be so accurate with an analysis, because we're trading the chart. We're trading the price action, right? We're trading what the chart, what the history tells us at these key gap fill levels. Take a look at ATER. It gaps up. It fills the gap. It has a little reversal when it hits this blue line. Right here, it gaps down, just like it's doing right now. And you can see the next day it gapped up. As soon as it filled this gap, it had a reversal. And then when it came back down to the blue line, it had another reversal. Gap close reversal for the long side. Gap close reversal for the put side. Gap close reversal for the long side. The new gap close reversal for the put side is at 467. The new gap close reversal for the long side is at 385. Those are the phenomenal scalping opportunities. You could do shares, you can do the options. If you do the options, I would encourage you to get the strike that's closest to at the money, right? So in terms of 385, I would go with the $4 strike. In terms of 470s, I would go with the 4.5 at a money strike. Those are the strikes I would be doing on ATER stock. So puts at 467, calls at 385. Very simple. Top setups into next week are going to be HPQ, ATER, Tesla. We're waiting for the gaps on Roblox, SPY. Those are going to be the top ones we want to see on Nvidia reacts at that key make it or break it level. In terms of my updated analysis on MULN, if you watched my video yesterday, I told you guys MULN is most likely going to fill this gap at 265. And as you can see, it filled that gap at 265. And then I told you guys in that video, if 265 reacts as a resistance level, it's going to start to pull back. And within time, it's going to be on track to crack 230s. Once it cracks 230s, 220s, turns that into resistance, then it fills this gap at 175, which is going to be the new best level to buy MULN at 175, right? So that's what I'm seeing on MULN. It's another great stock to play gap close reversals on. It moves very similar to PROG in that sense. And it was so obvious that it was going to fill the gap at 265 because it just hit key support in the 220s. And you have this gap to fill at 265. So the way I'm looking at this is the overall chart is bearish because it's been failing to turn previous resistance into support. It headed back to support. It had that bounce, and that bounce is going to fake out a lot of bulls because, it bounces, it fills the gap. But then if it reacts as a reversal, that's bearish, and it's going to keep on going lower. So in terms of the new updated analysis on MULN, if it can't break above and turn 265 into support, overall direction into next week is within time, probably by like Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to crack 220s. And once that happens, it goes to 175. So overall, I'm bearish on MULN right now because it turned the gap close reversal level into a resistance level, which is bearish. It means it's putting in lower highs. It really starts to sell off when it cracks 240. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. I think it's going to be another great shorting opportunity. We had members within the chat played at both ways, long and short today. In terms of buying, wait till 175. Wait till the gap fill at 175 to buy this. This stock loves having gap close reversals. You can see right here it had a gap to fill. Overall, it has a reversal, gets crushed. You can see right here it had a gap to fill below. Overall, it has a reversal, spikes back up to fill this gap, right? So it likes to have gap close reversals. So the next one would be 175 for buying. In terms of now, I think it's going to be an overall short. In terms of the chart that I'm seeing, to me, this looks like something like this. We have this green candle at support. We have this green candle at support. This wick, and then what happens? Overall, within a few days, it sells off and cracks support. So I'm thinking overall, within a few days, by Wednesday to Thursday, it cracks 220s and fills the gap at 175. That's my thoughts. That's my analysis on MULN. So use this analysis, use this education, use this price action to your strategy. These candlesticks, reading this chart, trading this chart, is going to tell you where these stocks are heading. Nothing else is. It's going to be the chart. That's what I'm doing. I'm trading the chart. I'm using the gap strategies. I'm focusing on the candlesticks. I'm focusing on how the stock reacts when it hits a key level. Does it react bullish? Does it react bearish? Right? So I'm paying attention. I'm adapting. I'm paying attention to how the market reacts at this key level. So I'm interested in buying at a certain key level, and I'm interested in shorting at a certain key level. And if it reacts the way I want it to, then that means I'm getting my confirmation to enter the trade. So yeah, this is a great lesson. We got some great opportunities coming up. Big shout out to members within the chat who killed it today. Make sure, for those of you within Trader Society, that you use some of this weekend to really study and to really, reflect on your trades and to really study the video lessons within Trader Society. You can also go back and watch the recordings of the live trading session. Please use some of your time this weekend to really study, to complete some of the lectures within the video lesson library, guys, because that's going to help out a lot. The best strategies within the program are the gap fill strategy and the gap close reversal strategy. Those are my two favorite gap strategies. And just a reminder, make sure, especially for those of you who are new to the program, do not blindly follow my alerts. Do not blindly follow anybody's alerts. We're going to try our best to point you in the right direction, but you need to understand the setup. You need to understand, why are we entering here? Why is our price target here? Why is our stop loss here? Why are we willing to flip sides? If the trade goes against us, cut our loss quickly, and maybe even flip sides and then switch sides on the trade, go from long to short or short to long, right? You need to understand how the price action works, how to trade the chart, how to trade the strategies. You need to understand that. Do not blindly go into something and don't be asking the wrong questions. Like, is it time to buy calls now? Is it time to buy puts now? Like, you have to have that self-education. You should be asking people, if you don't understand something, like, I don't quite understand why you're shorting right here or why you're buying right here. Can you show me what it is that you see? Can you help me understand, like, is it because it filled the gap and it's, forming a resistance level? Is it because of this candlestick? Help me explain on the daily, right? Think of better questions to be asking people. Don't just ask people like, is it time to go long? Is it time to go short? Think of educational. Think of questions that are going to make you self-sufficient. So like, write down some questions. I'll probably create like a cheat sheet, a checklist for that too, because that'd be a good lesson as well. Just like, think of questions to ask people of what could make you self-sufficient, what can help you understand the setup better. But if you watch those video lessons, and like I said, if you're looking at people's alerts, you guys know some of the best traders within Trader Society. Pay attention to the trades they're making, and look at the chart. When they enter, look at the chart. Try to figure out, why are they entering here, and then look at the chart, right? Trade the chart, and then ask them if you have any questions about the setup, right? So just make sure you're getting the educational value. Do not come in here trying to blindly follow alerts. If that's your mission, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. No matter where you go, no matter what program you join, no matter what trader you're following, nobody's going to be able to, they're not going to be able to make you successful by just blindly following, somebody's alerts. It's just not that easy. You have to be self-sufficient. You have to trade for yourself. The people who are doing best in the program, I'm telling you, they're not blindly following anybody's alerts, and they're making up their own trades. If they see a trade that I enter, they might take a look at the chart and they might like the setup, and then they'll trade it. So they'll use me as like a scanner in a sense, because they already know what to look for. They already know what the setup and how to trade it is. So if they see my alerts, they'll kind of view it just as a scanner. Like, okay, is this something I want to trade? Let me look at the chart. Oh, I see what he's doing. I'm going to get in on the trade. Or, oh, maybe I don't like that setup. I'm going to stay out of that one, right? If you're self-sufficient, you'll understand what to be getting in and what not to be getting in. You have to figure out what works best for you. So yeah, I just want to really, remind you guys that on how important that truly is, right? Because this is not an easy game where you can just blindly follow anybody, no matter how successful they are. You have to understand what it is that they're doing that makes them successful. So if you do want to be a part of Trader Society, it's going to be that first link down below in the description. You can get started as soon as you sign up. You get instant lifetime access for a limited time only. You'll be grandfathered into the program for a lifetime, and you can get started on your education as early as you sign up instantly. You can start knocking out the video lessons that are going to teach you, the gap trading strategies step by step. It's going to share with you the price action trading strategies, the confirmations and the reactions we use at these key levels, how to create that trading plan, how to be self-sufficient, the mindset and risk management and position sizing and psychology to trading. You also get access to the chat room and the members within the chat room, where you can ask us questions one-on-one. You can communicate with us within the chat. I'm telling you, the community is going to be a big asset. Not everybody, but there is a very select group of traders who are not only successful, but they're very self-sufficient within their success, and they're helping people and they're pointing people within the right direction using what is taught within these lessons and throughout their experience as well as a trader, because everybody has different experience as well. So surrounding yourself with that group with that experience, with that community that is trading that one simple strategy is really going to help you master it in a sense too, and they're really going to help point you in the right direction. So yeah, you get access to the chat room, to the one-on-one direct messaging, and then of course the live trading streams that we do every single day at Market Open. Every single day at Market Open, I go live and you get to watch me trade live. You get to watch me trade on SST live today. That was an amazing trade. That was 80% return in like 30 minutes. That was crazy. And they weren't all wins. I had some losses today as well, but you do get to watch me trade live every single day, and you get the recordings to those live trading sessions where you can go back and rewatch them as well. So that's another great way to learn trading, is to watch someone do it live, to see, to see from a third point of view, a different perspective, live trading, right? That can help you out a lot in that sense as well. So there's a lot more to it. If you want to check it out, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. If I find any more new setups, I'm going to be posting an updated video on Sunday on this channel. So most likely not going to be posting a video tomorrow. On Sunday will most likely be the next video. As of now, I usually don't post on Saturdays, but I tend to post every single day on the week and throughout the weekend. And then I usually will skip a day on Saturdays. That's typically how it works out. That might change as time goes on, but that's typically how it works out right now. But yeah, it's the first link in the description if you want to check out Trader Society. For those of you within Trader Society, I'm going to be getting back to the direct messages over the weekend. We had a lot of new members join recently, so I'm a little bit behind on the direct messages. Remember, the best way to reach me is live on the spot during the live streams, but I will be getting back to your direct messages over the weekend, so I appreciate your patience on that. And keep me updated, as always, within the chat, what setups you're watching, what your trading plans are, what's your watch list. Start posting your watch list, start posting your price alerts. I want to see what it is that you guys are interested in. And if I like it, I'll add it onto my price alerts. And if we get the reaction that we're looking for, then I'll make the trade based off of that. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up today's market recap, and I will see you guys within the next lesson.